So, yesterday's recap, starting off with Aurora, ACB. Um, I had this on my watch list with the RFK confirmation. Nice little ascending triangle. Looks like I got in a little early, but I'm going to keep this on my radar. I think that there might be some opportunity here with some pot stocks, especially with ACB with the earnings, the recent earnings being so good. This is the clear leader. It's held up really nicely, holding the 9 SMA. Should have anticipated this extra pullback. It's all good though. I mean, I kept it tight. I lost $2 on it on yesterday on Friday. So, but again, I saw the clear ascending triangle here. So what I'm looking for is this break of 691, and then once it clears 7, it's probably off to the races, back up to this 935 area. And then up to this level, which is 1150 from when? Let's take a look. Oh. Yeah. This thing looks great. This thing looks really good. Definitely keeping this on my radar for that $7 break. This will be on my watch list. Let's take a look at the 30-minute. 30-minute held up nicely. Had that nice little push a little bit on Thursday. And then Friday, I took the break of pre-market high, which I'm not upset about. It was a good clean thesis, but it immediately sold off. Could have been a little bit more patient and waited for the opening range to close, that first 30-minute candle to close, or waited for the prior day high to break. But I figured maybe try and get an early entry with a tight stop, which is what I did, and I'm not mad about the $2 loss. So my entries, if we show trades, let's go to the 5-minute, maybe it'll reset. It has not reset. So I saw this 5-minute candle, nice strong hammer with some solid volume. Clearly not as strong as Thursday's volume opening range, but 3 consecutive hammers, and then man, that thing just sold off hard. This is not showing trades, which is frustrating. But anyway, I entered somewhere in here at this 673 area, I believe, and then cut it basically at 673. And I took a very small starter. I think I took 100 or 200 shares just to test the waters. And then I saw this big volume candle come in here, this buyer, but a seller just absorbed it and took it straight down. So really thought that would hold it with 90,000 shares, but it didn't do it. So tight stop, kept it tight, not mad at the trade, and again, we'll be continuing to keep this on. Oh, there you go. Let's go back to the 1 minute. Oh, it's not showing it on the 1 minute. Interesting. Okay. Well, on the daily, I bought it 6.9 at basically 670. Sold it at 669, 660.50. So, yeah, tight stop. Kept it tight, kept it light. All good. Keeping it on my radar again. Next was BMRA. This was more of a daily setup. I had made some decent money on it here. Actually, no, I didn't really make that much. I traded it piss poorly. But yeah, I was looking for this continuation. I didn't have it on my radar, which I should have had it on my radar. Let's push that out a little bit. There's the high. Yeah, so it just beautiful break right there. Just gapped right. Well, it didn't gap, but opened. Did it open at that level? Open was 78.27, and what was the high? 78.1. Yeah, so it opened above that prior daily high, which was nice, or the original high, because it looked like on Thursday it broke above. If we go to the 1 minute, I don't know why this is not showing my trades on the 1 minute. But yeah, just a beautiful break. I think I bought up here at the break above the POC break. So I bought at the high of day break for continuation. This was just a beautiful base. This was really the entry. Just wait for this opening range to kind of consolidate, find its lane, and then make a decision above 80, which it held the entire day. So that's a clear level right there, is that 80 level. So this, again, I'll keep on watch as well. I don't think it has extraordinary news, if I remember correctly. Oh, it had some news on Thursday. Yeah, so keeping this on my watch list as well. The daily just, yeah, so I bought at 86, sold at 85. I lost $10 on this. Yeah, $7. $7.10 was the actual trade. So looking for continuation here. I think we'll probably get a little bit of a push and then probably a pullback back to this level right here, this 78, 79, 80 level, and then potentially a push higher, or we might just get just a straight push with slight pullbacks up through 1. I think we could see that 125, 130 level again. 135 is the 52-week high. I think that's possible. I mean, that was a massive volume day. Shorts could get squeezed if they just get caught off guard, but buyers really need to step up to get this going. Probably need some additional news, but thus far, a nice just push up. It was a sell-off, the gap and crap style day, and then it broke below the 9 SMA, but held that 200 SMA, and then pushed back up. Got some volume here, 7.5 million shares on 210, which was what, Monday? I believe that was Monday. Yeah, Monday. And then consolidated sideways and then pushed through again yesterday. So I'll be watching that for potential continuation going forward. There we go. Now it's starting to show. So I bought 86. So I bought the break of this candle high, and then it looks like it just, I think I bought here at this break. No, I bought at this break right here, and it cut. I just cut it because it just sold off or something. No, I bought it here, and it immediately flushed. That's what happened. I bought it here, it flushed, and I sold right here, in one of these candles here. It didn't hold. Didn't like that it didn't hold. And especially with really weak volume, I did not like that it was super weak volume after these 3 high volume candles. So I just cut it, $7 loss, and that was that. CNSP, this was my only winner, and it was a $2 winner. It was my only profitable trade yesterday. Yesterday was it was just a tough day. Focused a lot of my time and effort on GNS, which we'll go over. But, man, I mean, it was just death by a bunch of paper cuts. I couldn't get a feel for the action. I had a nice trade here. I recognized this consolidation and this just continual grind up with these higher highs. But it was also lower highs as well. I mean, you could see this trend. But as soon as it broke, I bought the break here. And it's really frustrating that it's not showing the prices on the 1 minute. But just a nice daily, just a big gap. like that it was holding the 30 minute 9 SMA. I also like that we got this nice little bull flag or pennant, if you will, and it broke that downtrend resistance line. I bought it 16 cents, sold it at 16.35. I bought basically right at the open, and I was watching this thing, and it started to rip. I didn't like that it stalled right there. I was looking for an additional push, and it just couldn't push. It didn't push, so I cut it for a very small win, $2.16. And then it started to, I took it off my radar just because I am not very good at opens, and especially with the leaders, they just get so whippy and choppy from micro scalpers just coming in and just buying and selling within seconds, and they're really making it tough to get a feel, especially at the open. After the open, you kind of get a little bit more cleaner moves, but man, that was tough. But then right after that, it got a nice rip all the way up to 19 cents, so 3 cents could have been a nice little position there. But yeah, volume died off. It kind of just faded the rest of the day, and I don't believe I traded this the rest of the day. If we go to the 5 minute, maybe it'll show my trades. No, why is it not showing trades on the 1 and 5 minute? Yeah, it shows it on the 15. That's frustrating. Oh, I also bought it in here as well. Where did I buy this? Put it on this candle as well. That was a loss. This was a gain. Yeah, so I don't know why this is not showing. That's frustrating. I think I bought it somewhere in here at this. Yeah, I bought it in here at this break right here. This little mini pennant that it had for the push up through pre-market high, but it just couldn't do it. So cut it for a small loss. Small loss. EVAX was my next. This was just a stupid trade. This was just trying something that I am not good at or comfortable with. I bought this break right here, but I got a really crappy fill, and then it immediately flushed, and just kept pulling back after that, and I sold it. Small loss again, $19, but still an annoying trade because I had no right to trade this. There was just no rationale here. News came out. I tried to get in early. Just trying something new, thinking, okay, well, volume's coming in. It broke the prior high, and this is more of just a micro scalp type play. This is not a buy and hold. I'm not good with those straight up plays where in pre-market they get news and they just fly straight up and they don't provide an entry. Not good with those plays. Tried it on this, hoping that this would do it, but it just couldn't do it. So cut it for, again, a small loss, but that was EVAX. GNS has a very nice daily and some pretty interesting news. So this was an IBS play where we got this nice push with high volume, 52 million shares, so about $25 million in volume, in dollar volume on that initial day. It held yesterday with a nice hammer with decent volume as well, about $4 million worth of volume. And then yesterday it just couldn't do much. Now I was looking for the push through 50, and I was getting in early with small size, simply because I saw this push up through VWAP off of this 45 level, which was the point of control for Thursday. So my thesis was, okay, this is holding this level. There was a lot of accumulation here on Thursday, and it pushed up higher. Wasn't much volume, but it held this level. You could see that buyers really stepped up and held that 45 level. So I was thinking, okay, maybe we get a push. The point of control on Wednesday, the big day, was 46, and it was holding that level pretty well. So I started to accumulate some shares here in this hammer candle at the break. I was looking for the break of 50, and again got in early, but it was small shares, and my thought was, okay, let me just get in before the break of 50, excuse me. And what I'll do is I'll get in now, and I'll risk the $50 down below 45. But in case this does start to push through 50, I'll get a small starter, but it didn't push. So I ended up buying more here, but didn't like that it was continuing to flush. I did recognize these long wicks, lower wicks, and it did hold this 45 level the entire day. I'm going to keep this on my radar. It has some pretty nice news. So they're looking to do a 20% share buyback. Now, it's going to the shareholders for a vote. So it hasn't been authorized yet, but or voted on. But if that news comes back that they authorized that, this thing is going to explode. I mean, the daily has so much room. I mean, I could see 150 pretty easily on this thing, especially if they do a 20% buyback. So again, 30-minute, I started to accumulate more down here, and I said, okay, I cut this for a small loss, but it held the 45 level. So let me just start to buy more. And I wanted to get a 10,000 share position, and I ended up getting it. And it started to push, and I had a sell order up at like just above. I had it at, this hit 50.87. I had it at 50.89. I had put my sell limit at 50.89, and it hit 50.87, and it pulled back. Now I only had 1,000 shares there, but I like to put it under specific levels. So I wanted it sub 51, and I figured, 90s. If it started to push, MMs would probably try and get that 50 90s. So you probably wouldn't see 5090 above 5095. So I was like, okay, let me just try and get 5080s, and I should have put it below that 5089. Just wasn't low enough. In this case, so they got the 87 market maker, or some retail got 50.87, and then it pulled back, and I was going to try and sell some in here, but I said, you know what, this is holding. We're getting nice volume had declined on these two candles, kind of increased on this one. Well, it did increase on this one, but then we got a nice push here, and volume slightly increased. So I said, okay, let's see what happens on this next candle. And this candle flushed. If I remember, it was pretty quickly. It was pretty. No, was it that candle? 30. The 1 o'clock candle. So yeah, it was this candle. Okay. So it was it pulled back below the 9 SMA on the 1 minute, but it was holding this 49.5, and then it broke below, but I said, okay, I'm going to give this room to this base high right here, 49. And then it just quickly flushed, but it got bought up with some decent volume, and I said, you know what, I really should give this to 45. That was initially my low, and I had a decent basis considering I started buying in here. I was accumulating at this break of this downtrend, and as volume started to really come in, I was buying in here in these or this candle right here I bought, and then I started to accumulate more through this consolidation, as it held the point of control, after that buyer stepped up. So someone's accumulating this, and they're holding this 45 level. I don't like that it closed below the point of control, but I really have some conviction on this. Obviously, news is going to have to come out in order for this to pop. I'd like to get in before that news because I don't think that I'm going to be able to get a solid entry. Once that news comes out, algos are just going to step right up and just push this thing to the moon. But man, this thing has... And then I also recognized the 4 hour had a nice hammer candle, 3.25 million shares. So, and it closed above the prior day high. So I really, I'm not mad at this trade. I'm not upset that I lost on it. I mean, it sucks that I lost, but I think I traded this pretty well. I could have sized in more at that 45 level, risking 45. I need to get better at that, where I just, I recognize the support. I buy off of that support, risking below the support. As long as there is conviction that that is a strong support level. And in this circumstance, it was a pretty strong support level. I mean, you had the previous day point of control. That was the pre-market low. You're getting all these massive lower wick hammer candles. You got the dip here. I should have just slammed 10,000 shares right here, and I think I did in my Roth. I slammed 10,000 shares at the 47 break, and I should have did it in this account, risking $200 in my trading account. But man, that is frustrating. I just didn't like that it was below the 9 SMA on the 30-minute, but it pushed right through, no problem. Thereafter, and then that would have been a nice $300-400 winner, if I had sold, say, 25 to 5,000 shares up here, 2,500 to 5,000 shares at the break of 50. I should have done better with I had recognized that there wasn't as much volume on this push higher, and I drew this trend line there, just to myself, saying, okay, there's a nice decline in volume here, so I'm looking for the break of that volume downtrend, and we got it, but it was on these accumulation candles, but it just continued lower. Buyers just couldn't step up to the strength of the short that pulled this right back to 45. So I cut it early. For $100 loser, $107, but I didn't want to hold it over the weekend, especially the long weekend, so I cut it. I should have sold shares up here, recognizing that volume just wasn't stepping up and we didn't have enough strength. It needed more. It really truly needed more volume to push through that, and it just never got it. So I should have recognized that, cut it up here somewhere. Maybe even here at this 49.5. I think it was up $100 after being down 40 or 50 on it from the initial trade in here. Should have just sold some here as it broke below the 9 SMA on the 5-minute, especially because it seemed extended. The 9 SMA likes to hold. It holds over once it crosses over the 20 SMA. It tends to be 2 or 3 legs before it consolidates back down. And once it consolidates back down, it pulls back below. You tend to see that break below the 20 SMA, and then it's just a downtrend from there. Not always, but you get a nice pullback thereafter. So I should have recognized that the volume... I recognized that the volume wasn't coming in that it needed. But I should have told myself, I should have been more disciplined to just cut some off the table. Because once this volume pushed through 50, broke through, and it wasn't really high enough Um, I could have said, okay, it broke above this trend line on the 1 minute, but the next candle didn't really do much in terms of volume. And then the candle thereafter to push almost to 51 had even less volume. So it just wasn't there. And I should have cut either most of it. I should have cut half of it at least on that push right there, because that just wasn't, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. MBRX, this was a small loser, $3. It seems like I had these were my trades. These were my trades for yesterday, and it was really two losers. It was SRM and GNS. And GNS, I had a lot of conviction with. We just went over it, so I'm not all that upset with that loss. SRM was more of a frustrating loss, but other than that, I kept it really tight with these three. I could have avoided. WRD was kind of stupid. It ended up popping a little bit, and I could have profited if I held longer, but I wasn't willing to take that much risk. So that was I probably shouldn't have traded it all to begin with. But anyway, let's get back to MBRX. So this was a big blow off top yesterday. You had this massive push all the way up to 369 from 60 cents, from 70 cents, excuse me. But then it pulled all the way back to where'd it close? $1.27. And then it gapped up and it stayed in between the 20 or the 50 and the 200. And I had assumed that it would stay within that bandwidth there. This was a small loss, $3. And if we look, I bought this early in pre-market as it was trying to bounce off of this downtrend resistance line or support line, and it did bounce. But I got a little spooked and I sold it early. I didn't want to hold it through the open. I can't remember exactly where I bought it. I think I might have bought it here on this secondary break on the 5 minute. And then as it started to pull back, I said, you know what? This may just flush and come back down to this support trend line. And I didn't want to hold it. I wasn't willing to risk $100, $150. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to cut it. I think I had 1,000 shares. What did it say on the? Let's go to the 30 minute. No, 400 shares. And it had solid support at 189, but I wasn't willing to risk $40 and hold it down there. This was more of just like a let's see how this plays out. If it starts to break this support or this resistance line, I'll start maybe adding to it to see where it goes. Try and get back up to this pre-market high, which it ended up doing at the open, but I just didn't hold it long enough. But it was a nice play, nice dip and rip. Just dipped and then ripped. Got sold off quick. This is what's frustrating about these micro scalpers is these micro scalpers are buying here and immediately selling up here within the minute, but you get so many micro scalpers flooding this push that when they start to take profits in the next candle, it just pushes down so fast. But then they just buy it right back up. So you get these massive whips. What is this? 50 cents in one candle? What's the low? $2.04. High is $2.56. Yeah, you're getting a 50-cent whip, which is 20% on this thing almost. Or it is 20%. 50 cents on $2.56. That's 20% in one candle. Which is great if you're a micro scalper, but I prefer cleaner moves. And I could have taken this break right here. And I think I was watching it, and I never took it. I never took it. I think I saw that the point of control was a little higher, and I didn't want to take below that, just in case sellers stepped up and just shorted the hell out of it and pushed it back down. Especially in the morning on these leaders, they just move so fast that you can get caught if you don't size appropriately. And I don't like just taking 100, 200 shares on a $2 stock, to where I can risk 10, 20, 30 cents and not be all that upset about it. But I mean, if it pushes 10, 20, 30 cents, I'm making $60. I want to make a couple hundred on a trade like this. So I could have kept adding through, but again, when it's that close to the point of control, I don't like to buy under it. Although I feel a lot more comfortable with that towards the end of day, when things start to get a little bit cleaner, volume dries up, and you can get, it's not as crowded. You can get cleaner moves. I've been finding lately, getting cleaner moves in the afternoon on VWAP break and holds. So I was watching this in the afternoon as volume started to pick back up again. You saw some covering here, back to VWAP, but shorts just continued to slam this a bit and pulled it right back down, and then covered again, pulled it back down, covered again, and then they just drove it back down in after hours as well. So may see a push on Tuesday. I mean, the 4 hour is still holding this pennant formation. So there's still structure here. And it is holding above the 200 SMA. I don't like this wick, and I don't like the volume on that upper wick on this candle. But if it can find a way to break above this, say, 230 level, this may get some strength to push back up to 365. So I'll keep it on my radar. Not a top watch for me on Tuesday, but I'll definitely keep it on my radar. Next was MGOL. So this was something that I had played on Thursday, and I recapped it in my Thursday recap, and I did not trade that correctly. I didn't size up when I needed to size up in that initial break here in the morning, specifically because, like I said, I just do not like trading the open. I'm not good at it. It's not my forte. I prefer trading sometimes in pre-market. Gets a little sketchy in pre-market with the lack of liquidity, and can't just slap a sell market or a buy market. You have to physically click the ask or the bid. So if the bid just gets ripped, you can get stuck, and I really don't like that. So I try to trade. I've been finding that my best trades, most profitable time frames, are typically around 12:30 to about 2:30. I just find that liquidity dries up a little bit, but if you get a nice consolidation, there's a lot of traders that'll stick around and watch that afternoon push, where everyone who has kind of left, all of the micro scalpers in the morning have left, and you get cleaner pushes in the afternoon, after lunch, where either the bag holders from the morning who are still holding longs from the morning are looking for a higher push through higher day, and if it builds a nice base in throughout the morning and late morning into the early afternoon, sometimes around 1 to 2, you get just a really nice push back through high of day for a continuation of front side. This one, I wanted to see this bull flag break. So it had this nice little bull flag right here on the 30-minute, and I took it smaller size, small loss, Just didn't work in my favor this time. I think if I would have held a little longer, I could. Oh, no. I bought it in here. I bought it late. And I bought it right in this pullback here. I bought for the pushback through. I saw that volume came in, and I liked that it was a doji, but I liked that it held at the prior candle close, and it was still at the high of day. So I liked that this was consolidating up here, and I was looking for that push through 120, but it just never came, so I cut it. Again, small loss. I lost literally $1.60. So I like that the volume broke out above here, but these two candles, these two dojis, just doji and then the dragonfly candle, just they didn't do it. They couldn't push it higher. Shorts just came in and stalked this down. So this sold off. Daily just it was looking for continuation, but it got drained right back down below the 50 SMA on the 9 on the daily. Still has some decent structure. I mean, you got lower selling volume, but it was Friday before a 3-day weekend, so you could argue that you may see a little bit of a sideways action at $1 throughout the week this week, and then a push higher. Let's take a look at the weekly. What's the weekly look like? You may see a consolidation through this wick right here. So maybe just look. I'll keep an eye out for the consolidation sideways action here. So next week just stays within this wick, and then maybe a push through thereafter on the last week of February. But keep an eye on it, but not a top priority again, especially with this candle, this break not being as high as the volume on this candle. But this was a nice push from this bottom base. I mean, you got, 18 cents, 14 cents, all the way up to $1.30 almost. So that's a solid move in 2 weeks, almost 1,000%. SRM, this was my biggest loser of the day. And I should have recognized that this was just kind of like a pump and dump or a gap and crap. But I was a bit early. I bought right here on this break back above on the 1 minute, the 9 SMA. And even though it didn't have the volume that I was looking for, it did clear. It did clear the 5 period average volume. So down there it shows 1.28 or 1.258 was the 5 period average, and this had 1.3 million shares traded in this 1 minute candle. So I bought somewhere around 77 break, and then it sold off, and I cut it quick. I might have cut it somewhere I might have cut it the next candle, because I was just looking for that break of that pennant resistance here, but it just continued to chop, and then I missed this buy right here at the 75 76 break on this candle break. I missed that entry with the volume coming in, and then I was watching this pullback here, and I was waiting for the break of 80, and as buyers started to step up and the ask on 80 started to get eaten up, I just slapped it. And this is just, I really need to stop making this mistake, because this could have saved me $130, $140, because I bought 2,500 shares for that break, and then the next candle sellers came in and just flushed it, and I was down $130. Solid structure, solid thesis, terrible execution. I mean, it was a beautiful break right there. It had conviction. I had conviction. These lower wicks, even though they were all spinning tops, they had nice lower wicks. It broke above instead of fading down immediately. We got some volume. It wasn't the strength I was looking for. And 80 was getting eaten up, but 80 was just too strong. That seller at 80 was too strong, and they just flushed it. So Really need to wait for 80 break or start to buy down here at this level. You know, if I would have got this 76 break, I could have started scaling out some up here, recognizing that, okay, this is getting a little bit weak. It doesn't really have the strength to break through 80. And then that sell-off candle just popped above this resistance level on the volume, and it flushed. So that was just a crappy trade, poor execution. VWAP was holding strong, and I could have just broke even then thereafter if I would have just bought down here at this VWAP hold. But that was just poor execution. Yeah, that was poor execution. I could have bought down here. Even I really don't like buying below the 9 SMA. But this 72.5 level looks like a solid entry. I mean, it's where VWAP was at the time. It had nice support there. It just kept getting bought up after it, or above it, holding that level. And then it just popped above with some volume on this candle right here. Man, it's frustrating. I really need to stop doing that. It's like I keep saying it, and then I just don't do it. I get trigger happy, and I don't do it. STAI. This was a continuation play. I really don't like trading these early IPO tickers, but sometimes you get a lot of MOMO with these where they pull back, they sell off from the initial IPO, and then you get buyers stepping up and they just push right through all-time highs real quickly. So I was watching this push here, and it was just incrementally increasing in volume. And I bought. This was just a stupid buy. I mean, there was no clear break here on the 30-minute. So, just a stupid buy. It was above VWAP. If we look at the 1 minute or the 5 minute. Yeah, I bought here at the break of VWAP. Or did I buy over here? Where did I buy? 30 minute. I think it was the secondary move. So I bought 242 at 8:30. Yeah, so 242 at 8:30. So I bought here at this break right here. Broke up a little bit and then just faded. And there was no. I tried to get the early move, but it didn't have it. This was just a piss poor execution. I need to wait for that break. That's the break that I need to wait for. Teed up. This one I've been watching on the daily. I traded this a couple of times. And this pushed to 52-week high. Doji, this is probably going to sell off. But it's a secondary. What are they called? It's like a not like a Salvation Army where people donate clothes, but they sell clothes to them. They buy used clothes and then sell them out. I don't know why I can't remember the name of those types of stores. Yeah, so this had that 52-week high break. Nice little secondary base here. Looked for the break and got chopped out. Decent thesis. I'm not mad at the trade. It was extended. It was kind of stupid of me. I should have stayed patient and waited for that pullback. I think I bought it within the first 30 minutes. Yeah, I did. Bought it within the first 30 minutes, and I should have just waited. So, especially because I bought it close to the end of that 30-minute candle, closer to 10. And I should have just waited to see what that secondary candle did, that 10 o'clock candle did before buying to see if it could break that 275 high. And it just couldn't. So it didn't even come close. It just faded the rest of the day. So that was a dumb trade. That was a really dumb trade. So Ward. This one. So I saw this downtrend resistance and I saw that it was holding support here. Didn't like that the 9 SMA was converging, looking to converge bearishly with the 20 SMA. But there wasn't really anything else that, which isn't a good excuse, that I have to, it makes me sound like a degenerate, like I have to trade at all times. But I had seen, I was watching this right here, I think. No, it might have been right here. Yeah, it was right here. So I was watching it kind of consolidate around, just barcode around the point of control for a few hours. And it broke above this downtrend resistance here. And it held. Now, volume didn't really come in, but I saw the volume come in here, and it held this level pretty well with this buyer that bought these two candles right here from the lows. So I said, all right, let's see if I'll just get 100 shares and see if this can do something here. And I got a crappy fill on this candle right here. I got 337. Did I get the high? Yeah, it was weird. I got above the high because it broke it up into multiple lots. It wasn't multiple lots. But it broke up my single lot, the 100 shares, into two tranches. So I got like 50 and 50 or whatever the differential was. But it ended up being an average of 31.37. So I got this crappy fill. And then it pulled back and I said, all right, I'm willing to risk the break of 31. And it broke below right there and I cut it. And I had a $46 loss on that one. So that was frustrating. Thought it could have done it. It ended up selling off, and then it ended up doing it slightly. Got a push in after hours as well, but I was looking for a much bigger move that ultimately never came, especially with it being at all-time highs. The 30-minute, halfway decent, not great. Should have avoided it entirely. 4-hour, nice spinning top. It held that close. Did it open and close at the same level? Close was 30.95. Open was 30.90. So it opened below slightly, but it pushed back up, never to break back above VWAP. So shouldn't have traded it. Should just focused on what I do best, which isn't really saying much because I'm not as consistently profitable as I need to be. And I think I just need to get back to the basics from where I started because that's where I was most profitable with swing trading. I mean, this one has been haunting me. Absolutely haunting me. I was buying this in here in this beautiful consolidation, looking for this push through 146 high. And then I was buying it again down here. I ended up making a couple of bucks on this overnight swing. But man, I couldn't figure this one out. And this is the most disappointing. The 30-minute was just it's just so choppy. This thing was just so choppy. I mean, look at this pullback to then push back up. This fierce pullback. And this was the gap down day on SPY, that overnight. I think it was a 3-day. Oh, no, it was February 1st, right? In February. Yeah, there's the end of January, beginning of February. And and I loaded. I had 10,000 shares. No, I had 12,500 shares. Yeah, 12,500 shares, and it gapped down, and I didn't know what to do. I just caught it for a $1,200 loss, I think. $1,300 loss, and it just moved sideways, and then bam, 2 days later, just exploded. This thing has been absolutely haunting me, and I need to get better at focusing on this, because this was just this beautiful this pullback. The initial push, pullback below the 9 SMA, held. This consolidation right here, holding this trend line support, is just, it's picture perfect. It could not get more beautiful than that. You get a pop with volume. So some buyers stepped up and said, okay, I'm not willing to break above 146 because I know sellers are going to come in. So I just want to keep it below that 146 level. It popped to 145. They pulled it back and just accumulated more all along the 9 SMA. It gapped down below, but it closed above on this day. What was the 9 SMA? 130, and it closed at 130, so it closed at the 9 SMA. Gap back down on the open the next day, but it closed 133. It closed on the 9 SMA again, and then the next day opened at 134, and it opened at 134. It opened on the 9 SMA, pulled back slightly in the morning, and then just boom. And it just incremental volume increasing throughout. And this had decent news where it had a price target increase to like $6. Yeah, $6 it got reiterated at. And it's at $1.40. It was at $1.50. $1.30, excuse me. It was at $1.30. Now it's at $2.10. If I would have just maintained those 1,200 shares, those 12,000 shares, I mean, you had one day where it broke below very quickly the prior day low, but then after that, it's just been smooth sailing. I mean, what is that? That's 70, let's say 70 cents. 70 cents times 12,500 shares. That's $9,000. That's a nice trade for 2 weeks' work. Man, that is frustrating. Stim was another one. I was buying this down here. Bought this break. I think I swung some, made a couple bucks on it. But this pennant break, I mean, I bought it early, got chopped out. Bought it early, got chopped out. And then it gapped the next day and just ripped. And then it moved sideways within this channel here of the prior high and this high, used it as support, and then just launched again. So from 250 all the way up to 460, a $2 gain. Now this is a lighter volume ticker, but still, I mean, that is a crazy, crazy move. Now I probably would have sold on this gap down day, though it did hold, so maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I would have recognized, okay, I have an early entry, just holding from here. I have a solid entry. My average is still below. I probably would have scaled out some up here at this 370 level or so. I should have just kept that. Let's see, what's the low on this? 176. 176. Oh, wrong one. 176 up to, what is this? High is 280. 280 down to 176. Yeah, so could have sold somewhere in the 350 range, which was my target initially. Sell in the 350 range. And then hold as long as it held this level here, 279, 280. What did this? Yeah, it held 280. Literally bounced right off the 280. Probably could have bought more there. And then, boom, from 280, almost $2 in a week. Man, that is frustrating. Really got to do a better job of focusing on these, because this is where the money is made on these swing trades like this. This is just easy money. Just easy, easy, easy money. Easy money. Focus on the bigger picture. Focus, focus, focus on the bigger picture. Yeah, I mean, this was no volume sell-off. What was it? Was it news of offering? Yeah, offering. 8 million share offering, $225 per share. Oh, wow. A public offering, too. At two, this wasn't a direct. Damn, and this still just took off. What was this news? Focuses on... RSUs, the compensation to the employees. Damn, so this went down to 225, got an offering, public offering at 225, and then just got bought right back up. I probably actually would have stayed away after the offering, and I think that's why I took it off my radar, because I did see that news of offering after hours and it plummeting. But man, that's incredible that this just got bought right back up. It's probably going to 5, probably going to 52-week highs. I mean, look at this strength. Someone is buying the hell out of this thing. What do they do? STEM, analyze. Commercial stage medical technology company designs, develops, and markets products for patients with neuro health disorders. Oh. The magnetic stimulation. Oh, this is an RFK play. That's what this is. This is an RFK play. And this is just getting bought the hell up as an RFK play. Damn. Yeah. On to the next one. Gonna find it. So, there's my daily recap for Friday. Frustrating week. Very frustrating week. Very frustrating month. But time to buckle down and get this money.